Okay, I want to thank everybody for being here today. On behalf of Northwestern Oklahoma State University and our community here in Alva, please allow me to welcome the 28th Governor of the great state of Oklahoma, Governor Kevin Stitt. We are honored. We're honored to have you on our campus today. We appreciate your public service over the last 8 years for the people of Oklahoma and in the northwest region of our state, and look forward to hearing your remarks today. But we're so glad that you ended up, we feel, in the best part of the state, what we call God's country. So please help me welcome Governor Stitt.
Thank you all so much. I'll just talk from here. Can anybody hear me okay? Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming out. And it's been a great morning for us. We started in Enid, Oklahoma, and then we went to Medford, and then we just went to Cherokee, and now we're finished the day here in Alva. So it's awesome for me to get all over the state of Oklahoma. Last week I was in Cheyenne, Cordell, Hinton, and Elk City. And anyway, Friday I'm going to be down in the southeast part of the state. Y'all been down to Broken Bow area? Has anybody been down there? It's an awesome part of the state as well, just booming with all the Texans moving up. But it's going well with it. And also I want to thank Senator Peterson for being here and Representative Newton. They're good friends of mine. They represent your part of the state very well over in Oklahoma City, and just been great friends. So you'll have great ones over here. But the reason I'm doing my 77 county tour is on my last year, I thought it'd be really fun to come back and meet with all of Oklahoma again and kind of tell them some of the wins, some of the things we've accomplished, answer any of your questions. But I started back in 2018, and I did this as I was running for governor, and just wanted to take us back for a second and kind of tell you what was happening in Oklahoma, remind you, because sometimes we've forgotten how far we've come over the last 8 years. But 2018, well, first, my story. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Norman, Oklahoma. My dad was a pastor. I went to Oklahoma State for college. Anybody? Go folks. Okay, good. What's the Rangers Ride? Ride Rangers Ride. All right. And then for everybody else, Boomer Sooner. Anybody Boomer Sooners in here? Okay, one.
It's just me.
Ride Rangers Ride. But I went to Oklahoma State, got a county degree, and then was always entrepreneurial. So wanted to start a business and be entrepreneurial. And so I started a company with $1,000 in a computer, and then it grew that. So I've lived my American dream. And we had business in 40 states. And so I would travel to Tennessee, and I remember going to Florida and seeing a lot of momentum, and South Carolina was booming. And then I came back to Oklahoma, and we were struggling. Do y'all remember the teacher walkouts? Mm-hmm. So that was what was happening in 2018. We had no money in savings, $1 billion budget deficits, a lot of fighting in the legislature and what we were going to cut because they were out of money. And I remember just going, what is going on with my state? Like, why can't we pay teachers what every other state does? Why all the turmoil? And so I really just felt, and at the same time, I was just feeling a compulsion to get involved and to run for governor, and I was so scared. You don't know how nervous I was, because I did not like talking in front of people. Like a group like this would have just terrified me to stand up here and talk in front of everybody. So I was really nervous, but I just knew that our founding fathers thought you were supposed to be a successful business person or farmer or rancher or teacher, and you leave that to go serve your state. And so I decided to do it. I raised my hand, and you elected me governor, and then you elected me for a second term. And so now here we are, 8 years later, leaving my term, and we're going to leave the next governor. We have the largest savings account we've ever had. It's $3.7 billion with a B that will leave turnover. So we went from 0 to $3.7 billion. At the same time, we've given our wonderful teachers a pay raise 3 different times. We've put more money in education than ever before. We have, at the same time, I cut taxes $2 billion. We got rid of the grocery tax, which was, I thought, was one of the most regressive taxes we had, because everybody has to buy groceries, and people on the lower incomes really spend a higher percentage of their money on groceries than people on the higher income bracket. So we got rid of that. And at the same time, every time we've cut tax, we went from 5% to 4.5% on income tax. Every time we've cut taxes, our economy has continued to expand, and our revenue continues to go up. We've doubled our revenue basically from when I took over to today, which is just an amazing stat. At the same time, we have, I will have fewer state employees. Think about this. So I track everything, and all of our state agencies, I know exactly how many employees they had in 2019 when I took over in January, and we'll have fewer state employees than we did in January of 27. So really proud about that. At the same time, I love investing in certain things, not growing government, but strategically investing. So what I mean by investing, we just did $300 million for the new vet school at Oklahoma State because it was kind of dilapidated. We know how important vets are across the state. We did $300 million to the new hospital at OU. We know how important healthcare is. We just got a rural healthcare grant, $223 million to invest in our rural hospitals. We put more money in roads and bridges than ever before. And so we've done all these awesome things. I passed the Build Act. I want to talk about education just for a second because we just did a 90-hour degree program. And hopefully your president will kind of adopt some of these things. I've got Joe Harris at OU is piloting 2 different degree programs because I want kids graduating without a whole bunch of debt, right? And so we think we can do some bachelor's degrees in 90 hours instead of the traditional 120 hours. So we've got OU piloting that. Everybody across the country is starting to look at that, which I think is really, really important as well. But it's just been amazing. But all of that to say, we're now winning as a state. Record economic development years. We had $14 billion investments, and Oklahoma is now top 10 in people moving to our state for the first time ever. Because when I graduated from college, everybody was moving to Dallas for jobs. And now it's the other way around. We get more people from Texas moving to Oklahoma than Oklahomans moving to Texas. And so it's just amazing what's happening. And then, what state do you think we get most people from? Any guesses? California, that's exactly right. People moving, you got some of the people from out in Alva here moved to California maybe? I meet them all over the state. I've said this at every stop. We were in Bedford, and the lady moved from California there. And I'll meet people, and they'll come up and take a picture with me. Governor, let's get a picture. We moved here from California. I said, that's great, that's fine. I said, but here's the deal. I had to wait 18 years to vote in Oklahoma. I want to make you wait 18 years before you vote in the state of Oklahoma. Just kidding if y'all are cool. But they very quickly, people always tell me, they're like, no, you don't understand. We're moving here because we see Oklahoma as the land of the free. The American dream is alive in Oklahoma, like it used to be in California. I hear that all the time. And especially during COVID. I like to also remind people, during my administration, we've been dealt with COVID. And I think one of the big factors of us growing like we have is because of the way we handled COVID. Because people saw in other states, they were shutting churches down, they were giving tickets for people when they were outside without their masks on, just crazy stuff, right? And in Oklahoma, we didn't do any of that. I was not going to be the governor. There's only a couple governors in the country that refuse to do mask mandates. But we believe in personal responsibility. We believe in the freedoms of letting you decide how you're going to live your life. And so I think that's a big distinction with how we are as Oklahomans. So it's just been an awesome 8 years, and I've been honored to serve as your governor. And thank you all for being engaged in this process. the fact that you're here meeting the governor and knowing the representatives, I just think that's so important. I wish everybody in Alva would come out to meet the representatives, because if we're not an informed citizenry, if you don't know what's going on in Oklahoma City or in DC, shame on us as citizens. You can't hold us accountable if you don't know what's really going on. And our founding fathers always thought we'd be an informed citizen. But I get it. I mean, politics, it gets so frustrating. We can get so down on it. And I tell people all the time, but don't take your ball and go home just because you're mad at somebody. Listen, I get as mad at politics as anybody thinking about this. And I'm governor and having to work with all the different factions to get things done. But I just want to encourage you to keep staying involved and engaged in your community, making Alva the best city to be here in Oklahoma, and making Oklahoma a top 10 state, which we are and we are continuing to become. So thank y'all so much for having me. I'll open it up to a few questions or what you'd like to know more about. Excuse me.
Governor,
Yes, sir.
how do you feel the election's going and what will the consequences be?
So, so August 25th is the next governor's race. And so important that we get out. August 25th, exercise your vote, get out and vote. It's a runoff going on. I know everybody running. And it's so hard to know, who do I vote for? I mean, who's tired of the commercials, right? Who do you believe? You see these commercials. It's just crazy. Anyway, so my opinion, and I know everybody, Mike Mazie, 100% is the right guy to replace me and lead the state. And I'll tell you about him. So first off, he had like a spinal injury, so he had to learn to re-walk, re-talk again, had a bad car wreck. So I always call him a nerd. I say, Mazie, you're such a nerd. But he's brilliant, and he actually served on my cabinet as my Secretary of Budget. So all the stuff I'm talking about on savings and lower taxes and growth, he helped me with that. And so I know how smart he is and what he does. So he's for growth and he's for lower taxes. The other guy is kind of Slick Willie. I call him Slick Willie. He's a sue and spend type guy. He's a trial attorney. What I'm frustrated with him is he sued our chicken industry in the eastern part of the state over a nuisance claim, and really punished our farmers over there. And if you don't think you can't, if you sue a chicken industry, you can sue a cattle industry. You can let your trial attorneys sue anybody that you want. And so I just don't like that. On the spending side, he's grown his budget 200% since he's been in office there. And I've kept all these other agencies flat, and his agency has more than doubled since he's been there, which is just super frustrating for me, because I don't think that's what Oklahomans want, is 100 new attorneys. So anyway, so that's why I think Mazie's absolutely the right guy. Thank you for that.
Governor, do you have any goals here over the last few months that you still want to get accomplished, and anything that we can do to help you with that?
One of the things that I don't know if we get it done in the last couple of months, but there's both initiatives on the ballot in August. I would vote yes on. There are two initiatives. One of them is voting, making sure that you have to have proper ID to vote. We already do that in Oklahoma. We'll just clarify that in our Constitution in case we get some crazy person in the future that tries to change some of the voting laws. So that's one. The other one is letting the legislature have more authority over reimbursement rates for counties. If there's I don't get in the weeds, but like in eastern Oklahoma, Google has their largest data center over there, and the state pays millions of dollars to the county for property tax reimbursements for the first 5 years. The legislature needs flexibility, because as soon as that 5 years over, the company goes, oh, our taxes are too high. I'm like, well, why didn't anybody say that when the government was paying the taxes in the county, right? So I think that's the issue. I think that those two issues, is letting the legislature have more control over that. But the thing I'll leave with you is I think that the next governor should be able to appoint the superintendent of education. And I'll explain why I believe that. Right now, they're separately elected, all right? Any football fans in here? We're getting ready for football season, right? Okay, good, me too. Well, think about this. What if we hired the next football coach at the University of Oklahoma? Brent Venables is going to be our football coach. We bring him in, and we say, we want you to win a national championship. He said, okay, great. And we said, but there's one caveat. we don't let you hire your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, your special teams coach. How would that work, right? He wouldn't take the job. He would have never left Clemson to come to the University of Oklahoma if he didn't get to choose his coaches. Did you know that's what you asked your governor to do? So I'm going on the way out. I don't have a dog in the fight except I'm a citizen of Oklahoma. And let's let the next governor choose their superintendent of education. So you tell your next, when I was campaigning, you say, go fix education. But then I was like, no problem, I'm going to do it. Then when I got there, the superintendent of education doesn't report to me. Her name was Joy Hoffmeister. Joy Hoffmeister switched to the Democratic Party to run against me for governor. Our relationship was not just peachy, okay? You can imagine that. So she was trying to mask every kid in school when I was saying absolutely no way. So those were the conflicts we were having during that time period. Every other state, the governor appoints that person. The next guy, I don't even know what happened to him. He goes off the deep end with press statements and trying to be a national hero and all this kind of stuff. It wasn't until my 7th year that I got to appoint, because he resigned, the guy that was elected resigned, and I appointed Lyndall Fields. It changed the culture in education. You notice there's not any turmoil right now. Okay, I made him promise he wouldn't run for re-election if I appointed him. I probably wish I wouldn't have done that because he's doing such a great job. But Lyndall's changed it, because now you take politics out of it and they can actually focus on the kids and improving education. So I've asked the legislature to send that to a ballot initiative, to let you choose, let the people choose. We have so many different elected officials that we kind of we eat our own in state government. You got to have one neck to choke, right? In business, you've got a CEO, and if he's doing a terrible job, fire him. But right now, we've got all these different separately elected people, and so they're all just shooting arrows at each other because they want my job. Okay, the Attorney General, you know what that stands for? AG, almost governor. So everything that he does, he's been running for governor ever since he got that job, and all he does is try to take shots at me because he thinks that's how he can get his name in the paper, and everybody that doesn't like Stitt all of a sudden will vote for him. So that's what he thinks. So every other governor gets to appoint their attorney general, appoint their superintendent of education, appoint the labor commissioner, appoint the insurance commissioner. Insurance. Let's think about insurance. I'm all mad because my insurance is going up. Governor fixed that for us. The insurance commissioner, who do you think elects the insurance commissioner? Where do you think goes to their fundraisers and gives them money to get elected? Insurance companies. Insurance companies. That's exactly right. How can you have any change when the guy that's getting elected to be your insurance commissioner has to be beholden to the insurance companies? It's a horrible system. Horrible. So that's why I'm also I'm preaching to the legislature right now, because they're going to be here after I'm gone. That stuff needs to be done for the future of our state. I'll be gone. I'll be cheering on the next guy like you guys, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing and why I think that the next governor should be able to appoint some of those folks, especially the superintendent of education. Yes, sir.
Talk about your reform for prisons.
Yeah.
Incarceration.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. So that's another big thing from 8 years ago to today that I love sharing with people. 8 years ago when I took office, we were last place in incarceration rates. 50 out of all 50 states, meaning we incarcerated more men and women than any other state. I'm a business guy. I started looking at all these metrics, comparing us to other states, and I'm like, that's weird. Either our people are worse than every other state or our policies, right? I'm Oklahoma. My grandparents grew up here. I'm like, it's got to be our policies. So I go about changing this, and we have moved the needle. We have 5,000 fewer people incarcerated today than when I took office. Think about that. And we have, I think we're down 18% or so in our incarceration. I've closed 4 prisons, 3 private prisons since I've been governor, saved the taxpayer hundreds of millions of dollars. We're number 2 at lowest recidivism, people going back into prison. So I'm just really proud of that, because I'm basically trying to change the concept. Let's lock up people we're afraid of and not who we're just mad at. Not who just doesn't pay a fine or fee or court costs or fails a drug test. Let's make sure that we're locking up people, because it costs us about $32,000 a person to lock up. So let's make sure we're keeping Oklahoma safe, because the other thing I learned, DHS, all the other added problems with incarceration, and then that cycle that gets created, the statistics of kids being incarcerated if they have a parent incarcerated is just a self-fulfilling prophecy that also happens as well. So really proud of what we've done there. I ended up signing the largest commutation in U.S. history. Didn't know it at the time. But in 2019, 450 low-level drug offenders I was able to give second chances to. And we followed that. The recidivism is really, really good. But we're all frustrated. The other option is lock everybody up and throw away the key, everybody that makes a mistake, right? But that doesn't work either, because longer sentencing also is hard for re-entry, and you almost are, it's self-fulfilling kind of prophecies if you give people these long sentences for kind of first offenses. So we got to be really careful with that. And the district attorneys have a tough job, man. I mean, balancing the public safety with also some of the second chances. So I think we're doing it pretty good right now. But that's something I'm really proud of, Peters.
So I'm the warden out here.
You're the warden?
Yes.
There's the warden?
I want to say
Okay.
thank you to your wife.
My wife, thank
The
you.
Sarah Stitt Act,
Yeah.
and the ability to get state IDs and making the birth certificate process so much easier just makes those guys so much more marketable in the job place, makes it easier for them to get jobs. One thing we're doing right now, we have a beautiful partnership with Northwestern. The treatment side of what we do, I think we're very successful on. One thing we're focusing on is the reentry piece for career tech. What do you see as something that we can do to that subset to make them more marketable in the job place?
Yeah, and what she just said is I passed this bill called the Sarah Stitt Act, and gentlemen, you get a lot of kudos if you name bills after your wife. I think maybe we need to check this out, guys. 15 other states have passed the Sarah Stitt Act now, and all it says is and in fact, that commutation, me and Sarah realized that all these people got out of prison, these ladies, and then they need a driver's license to go get their kids back from DHS, or to get a job, or to go to career tech, or to enroll in Northwestern. And so we're like, well, why didn't we do that before they got out? Well, then they need a birth certificate. They didn't know where that was. These are bad, they tough upbringings. So we passed this law to say, hey, let's get them their birth certificate, their driver's license. Let's get all this stuff. Let's help them with re-entry, which is pretty common sense, right? Everything I do, I tell my kids. I said, everything I do is common sense, all right? Every bill I veto is common sense, too. Okay? We'll talk about that later. Yeah, I think working with those career techs, having the career techs come, because we've got cosmetology schools behind the bars now. I think diesel mechanics, HVAC. I think the more we can bring those in, those type of life skills and specific skills for the jobs that we need. Farming, what farmer doesn't need mechanics on site helping them fix their tractors and all their equipment, right? So training all that stuff, I think the more you can work with career techs would be awesome inside the prisons. We're trying to do that. I toured Angola down in Louisiana. They're doing a lot of that, and it's just amazing. These guys are graduating with great degrees, because 2,000 people get out of prison every year. Don't we want to get them back to paying taxes and getting their kids out of the system and moving forward? Yes, and that's what we're trying to do. Maybe one more question, if anybody has a burning question.
Kind of just a point of pride.
Yes, sir.
The campus you're standing on right here, you talked about affordability of college. So the investments in OU and OSU is one thing, but the institution where I work here, we graduate nearly 60% of our students debt-free. And they're staying in Oklahoma.
Actually, it's 62%.
62%. So awesome. So that being a point of pride as an institution of higher education in Oklahoma, we're doing it the right way.
That's awesome. And I think 80% of your graduates or something all are staying here, staying in state. Those are fantastic statistics. But and Northwestern is such an important part of this part of Oklahoma. It's just awesome. You guys are growing bigger. Well, again, the last thing I'll leave you with is thank you all for being here, being engaged in this process, because I know you're the leaders in the community, and I just wish I always yell at my staff in a fun way. Like, hey, we're the normal people. Bring normal people out. Because when I was growing up, I never knew any governors. My parents weren't that politically involved. And everywhere I go, I want to meet the regular people. So bring them into the chamber events, the different community events. And I know it can get frustrating, but the more that we know and understand that's happening, I think the better off we are as a society. We can hold each other accountable. So thank you all so much for being here. God bless you, and thanks for what you're doing.